Up, everybody? Welcome back to a special edition Boiler Express podcast. A one of one. The Purdue Boilermakers are headed to the Final Four for the first time in 44 years. Katie didn't do it, and Matt Painter did it. Matt Painter has done it. He's done it. We've gotten the monkey off of our backs, and it's awesome. It's absolutely incredible. It doesn't even feel real to me. Before we get into all that and how exciting today is and how it doesn't feel real and how, Jesus Christ literally had to resurrect himself from the dead in order for this to happen.
Shout out to JC.
Shout out JC.
What?
I want to give a real quick shout out to all of our sponsors. First off, to celebrate this victory, obviously, when you go to martinvintage.com, use code BXP at checkout to get yourself some new Purdue swag. Got to be in check for the Final Four next weekend. And then while you're getting ready for the game next weekend, you're going to go to College Basketball Analytics so you can look up NC State, so you can check them out and see how Purdue compares to them as well. And then since you're going to the Final Four in Houston, you're going to need a tailgating thing to do. You're going to need something to do while you go tailgating. You're going to need to go get a Cincy Blitz board. They can do any team. And this is, if anybody from NC State is for some reason listening to this, you can get an NC State one. I don't know why you would, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you can get any team, whatever. Get a Blitz board for the game on Saturday. And this is the first time ever, guys. This is pretty sad. I'm gonna have to choose between watching Purdue play for a spot in the national championship or the first night of WrestleMania. So,
Damon.
No, bro,
Damon.
this is not a choice. This is not a choice.
Damon.
This is not even a choice.
Damon.
You're right. It's not. I have two TVs. You guys are right. It's not.
Everybody cancel Damon.
Bro. All right, that's cool. All right. Anyways,
oh my gosh.
Damon mentioned the sponsors. We're gonna move on from that now. So
yeah.
This is our Welch's grape juice, by the way.
Sure it is.
We're getting real lit. No, it really is.
Getting real lit. Yeah, I looked at it and I thought maybe it wasn't alcohol. Yeah. I've just got old-fashioned water over here. It's great. But how are we feeling? What a game. Let's start there. Let's start with how awesome of a game that was.
What a team. What a coach.
So we talked about it just a few minutes ago. It was the first time in the entire tournament for me that I felt nervous.
I was going to say, you just said awesome game. I feel like I was going to get sick all game. Your definition of awesome is different than mine.
But that was the epitome of an Elite Eight game, right? And yeah. I mean, it went exactly how I expected it would. I felt like it would be back and forth. Purdue would probably pull away at the end due to just wearing teams out. Dalton Connect went off. So many awesome facets.
Shout
of
out
this
Dalton
game.
Connect, man, great player.
Yeah, but how many battles have we had with Tennessee all the way up to the end though? So I never really felt like, Chris called it. Chris, he's out there at the airport. Maybe he'll join us or not, but he called it. He said we're due for a run right there with about 2 minutes left. Like Tennessee kind of pulled back, and it was like, okay, it's Purdue's chance to respond, and they did respond.
But
I mean,
Lance
hit. Yeah, what's up? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, Lance Jones hit the 3 of his life. Oh my god!
Yes, because it felt like we kept getting a 3, and then they came back. We could lead the 3 and came back, and then we got the ball with the lead of 3, and then Lance hit that 3, and it was like, oh man. Because I know it made some people nervous, like constantly going to Edey, but like he's the National Player of the Year, and if it comes down to a play to keep us in the game or to keep the offense going, I want the ball in his hand. Maybe Braden's, but like Braden's going to make the right decision. If it needs to be in Edey's hand, it needs to be in Edey's hand. If he needs to keep it, he needs to keep it. Which I think they saw something. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was almost like on the scouting report, it said if there's some kind of congestion around the middle of the paint or even like the free throw line, and you've got the ball, Painter was like, just take it all the way to the rim because you're gonna bust right through that congestion and end up with an open layup. And we got that a lot tonight. It felt like a lot of where there's a lot of bodies there, and all of a sudden, Braden shoots through and there's a layup, or Lance shoots through and there's a layup attempt.
But then we saw in the second half for us to counter that, Tennessee was playing drop coverage, and both guys committed to Braden and containing Braden. So they went from containing the roll. I don't know if there was a miscommunication on that particular play, but the guy left Edey, went to go double Braden. He just threw it up to the tallest guy on the court. Should have been an oop. Should have dunked it, but he caught it and threw it in. And again, it's easy for Braden to kind of lull you into this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do, and then he'll switch it up on you when you start making adjustments. But couldn't have played a better game. I'll back up. We could have shot the ball a little bit better. Defensively, I felt like we did a really good job. I know Painter was pretty critical in the press conference and that we had some huge breakdowns, especially leaving Connect. And I think Lance slipped once trying to guard Connect. Braden got mixed up. But I felt like defensively we've been pretty good in the tournament just as a whole. I feel like Purdue's defense has been kind of on another level, and it prevailed today. And I said it the entire game as I was watching it that defense is going to be what determines the outcome of this game.
And this game just reinforces this theory that I have that the first team to 70 wins. I don't care, like it's
69
or 69. I feel like whatever team gets to 71st is the team that pulls out. And it's funny too how much of a spitting image this game was from the first one. Obviously, Dalton Connect had scored a lot more than he did in the first meetup, but the score was 67-71. I think the first time we met, and then today was 66-72. So I mean, you can't get much more verbatim than that. But yeah, Cody says that he felt like we were asking ourselves, what do we have to do to win this game? And then he also, says what everybody's saying, for Paint, for Gene, for Big Dog's back, for Robbie's knees, for Haas's elbow, for Virginia Miracles, it's finally over. I think I saw that tweet earlier today. And yeah,
I put out something similar, but it's not over yet, though. It ain't over. We got 2 more games.
That's what Frank and I were saying before the show.
How about the Zach Edey monologue there during the post-game interview?
I think he should be canceled for saying the F word after being excited for going to the Final Four. Absolutely.
But he's normally such a reserved guy. He normally doesn't show that much. Like,
dude,
you can tell it's there.
Bottling the coach's handshake to give Paint a hug. Like, literally, it started Rick Barnes. Like, Rick Barnes just going in for, like, the normal, like, conceding handshake. And Edey just comes over and flies at Paint. He almost startled Painter, too. Like, oh. Like, it was great. Love the emotion.
And how about Edey specifically calling out Rick Barnes in the post-game press conference? So for anyone who didn't hear, this is a paraphrase, but he basically said, find a D1 program and I'll show you a coach who overlooked me. And then he paused and then he thought about it for a second. He said, Rick Barnes is a great coach. He came to my high school several times, didn't recruit me. He overlooked me. No one's going to do that anymore.
I think that's just by proximity. I don't think it was like like he has some kind of personal beef with Rick Barnes. That's just who we just happen to play. Like if we just played, like we're not going to play Duke because they're out too. But if we just played Duke and he could talk about, well, I guess it wouldn't be Shire, it would have been Coach K. But Duke recruited the guy that was in front of him. They didn't come recruit him. So if we beat Duke, I think he would have called out them. So.
Well, I mean, and you look at the guys that he was on a team with at IMG. Half those guys are in the NBA now. So,
well, he only averaged like 8 minutes or something on that team. Like he didn't,
right, and he didn't start playing basketball until he was a sophomore in high school.
Right.
So,
right, it was his 3rd year playing basketball. He was behind
I get what he's saying.
Center. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cody says, Dylan, he says, I felt like your dad and my dad were helping our boys out from heaven today, and I salute your dad.
Oh man, awesome. I sorry to move, but I noticed my laundry basket was in the shot. Yeah, man. The clock hit 0. I watched with my brother. Celebrated with him. My entire family watched me be an absolute disaster for an hour and some change. And then I went up to the cemetery, like grown man cried. Got that out of the way. Yeah. And there were people visiting their loved one a few rows down, and I was like, let's go. Like I'm celebrating at a cemetery. And they're probably like, what?
Did you look at him and be like, you were like, Purdue, right? Purdue,
that guy's like, someone's happy that that guy's gone. Like that's what
he goes and like looks up his eulogy and be like, God, what did this guy do?
what happened to this guy?
Sounds like there are a lot of emotions all around it. It didn't hit me until about 20, 30 minutes after the game, and everything. I finally just kind of came down from everything, and then it kind of hit me there.
Okay, I mean, yeah, because I had Easter lunch today with like my family and everything. My grandpa was there, the grandpa that I've talked about before, who like got me into Purdue athletics, went to Purdue and everything. And he was just so like, we sat there and talked about the last, he's been watching Purdue basketball for the last 50 years of his life. And just talking to all the teams that he's witnessed, and he's like, I really feel like this is the team for Painter and for for every team that he's seen. He's like, I feel like this is the team to finally do it and get into the Final Four. And it was just so much. I mean, everybody, no matter how they're tethered into this program or what they're how they became a Purdue fan, it's so much more than just, oh hey, Purdue won and we're in the Final Four. It's like so like. Not to use Christianese on anybody here, but like chain breaking and just like powerful, man. It just feels like a whole weight's been lifted off of our shoulders. And
he's broken the seal. Like he's broke the seal now. Like I really think. I mean, I told you guys in in the chat post game, he's 53 years old, which is not old for a coach. You know, like a guy like Tiller, you think about what he did for football. He started at Purdue at like 50, right? Like 49, 50, like was when he started. So, you know, Izzo's 69 still coaching.
Nice.
Underwood's 60, and they're talking about it, him, you know, Underwood turn around Illinois. Painter has got a good 10, 15 years left, and this could not be our last. I don't think it's going to be our last. Yes, we've still got business to attend to, but I mean, with the class coming in next year, and like Frank said, this is going to help recruiting big time. You know, like it's just going to help us build this program. And dude,
when you think about the knocks on Painter over time, Russ, you for a long time it was people would say, oh, well, he can't recruit guards, he can't develop guards. If you're a guard, you shouldn't go play for him. And maybe there was some truth to that, maybe there wasn't. You know, you look at Ronnie Johnson, you look at Tyrone Johnson, you look at, you know, I saw flashes of Bryson Scott. You know, we all know how that ended, but you know, then Carson came around, then Ivy came around, and then it was, well, you know, I'd love to go play for this guy, or I'd love my son to go play for this guy if you're a parent. However, he's just never made a run in March. He's never made a Final Four. I just think that there's very few reasons now that you can say other than NIL, or just you don't like the guy, or just you don't like Purdue, and that's fine. You know, you're never going
to get on too big of a tangent, but Bryson Scott was on a mission. Bryson Scott loves Purdue so much that he went to IPFW just to beat down that team down south bad enough that they removed Indiana from that school's name. That's what was going on there.
But you know, it's funny today. I almost got into like a heated argument with my brother because he just comes in out of nowhere. And my brother's coached basketball before, so and he played basketball in high school and everything. So I respect his opinion. I did anyway until today. He comes in, you know, hot and heavy. And he goes, you know, Coach Painter is when his team is Coach Painter has been a mediocre coach at best throughout his whole career. And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, the amount of talent he's had and not done anything with, it blows my mind. And I was like, what do you mean amount of talent? Like, he is not, and then I'm not knocking anybody that's ever played for, you know, Coach Painter or anything, but he's acting like Painter's just, you know, raking in 5-star after 5-star. And it's just absolutely insane to me. And it was just, I was like, so your entire like definition of somebody's success is like their how many, you know, championships they have. And he's like, well, I mean, that's all what it comes down to. And I was like, I don't respect anything you have to say about basketball anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, there are so many people I know who are former basketball players.
Right now.
What's
There's
your
so many
name, Gary?
former basketball players
Garrett.
I know that
Garrett.
his opinion I don't.
Should be
comment here from Cody. Cody wants to know if we're having a watch party. I think Chris would probably be the guy for that one, right? I think Chris is if anyone's going to do it, it would probably be Chris. So
if they make the final, then I will make a trip to Chris's house if that's available, because he just had 2 children. So I don't think his wife would like that.
Yeah.
So we may have to find a restaurant or something.
Stay tuned on that, Cody.
Is anybody going? Frank, are you going? Like, what's?
I think we're not going. I think we decided. So we looked at, like, as soon as the buzzer sounded, we were already looking at tickets, already looking at flights, and both are just very expensive. And I talked about this the other night, Russ. Like, when I was younger, I would have felt like I had something to prove, like I was the world's biggest Purdue fan. But you know, I had season tickets for football during the Hazel era. I had season tickets for basketball when we finished bottom of the Big Ten. I don't have any, like, I was there during the dark days, and I feel like I don't have anything left to prove anymore. And, you know, if I could financially afford it, you know, and it was, I would go, but I was looking at the prices already. And I mean, we're talking, I think it was like $1,200 a ticket for anything other than the nosebleeds, and flights were pretty crazy. So yeah, I just decided it wasn't worth it.
They've talked about the Super Bowl for years being like a corporate event. Like, it's not true fans to go to the Super Bowl. It's people that have the money to go to the Super Bowl to say they went to Super Bowl. Like, a lot of these major sporting events are becoming that way, like the Final Four, to where
don't they allocate seats behind the bench? Aren't those for students? Aren't those like the student section?
Well, okay, so yeah, so you can get some as a student, you know, if you're lucky enough to win that lottery or whatever it is. And then obviously, like the boosters, like the John Purdue Club people, they'll be there and they'll get their tickets for,
I like to call those the rich whites.
But yeah, everybody else, they're gonna like. But I would say stay tuned, because we learned something today. Like, before tip off, tickets went from, you know, being $300 to get in the door to like $60 shortly before tip. So I'm not saying spend all your money and go out to Phoenix and then hope the ticket prices drop right at the last second. I'm not saying do that, but there's a chance. there's the chance. Worst case, you go out there and tailgate with some Purdue people, and you're a lot closer to the game than we are.
Boiler Express podcast super fan Nick Burris, personal friend of mine, he's sending me videos of the airport. He's at the airport right now.
Chris
He's also in the comments. There's just this seemingly endless "whose house, our house" chant as they wait for the players. Hopefully we get more updates, but that would be awesome to be able to be there right now. That's a decent drive for me, so would not be able to be there. But yeah, that's be a terrific.
I would love to do something though, like next weekend, like up in West Lafayette. I know it's kind of out there. I mean, it's kind of out there for a lot of us or all of us that are in this call, but I don't know, just have like a watch party somewhere would be really cool. Because I know every bar in town and every Stu's house.
Sure, he'll do it too.
Well, so I told you guys before, I kind of assumed some things here, like I fake newsed it, but there were fireworks going off outside my house this evening, and I can only assume fireworks going off outside my house. I'm old. I'm part Boston. I don't know.
You sound like you're down there from Knoxville.
He was texting
I don't work
us
at
about these
Whataburger.
damn kids and their fireworks.
But I can only guess because there is enough Purdue stuff, and Frank can attest to this. And it seems like it picked up a little bit with the Brom and Rondale Moore and that kind of stuff. But Purdue being the ag school for the state, even when you get down south, further south than what Bloomington is, and in the state of Indiana, you're still going to see Purdue fans and pockets of Purdue fans throughout. So, even down here, people are celebrating Purdue being in the Final Four. So I think there'll be watch parties all over the state. So I would encourage everybody to get on Facebook, to get in some of these boiler groups that, maybe you didn't join because of some of the stuff that they've said before, some of the kind of toxic energy that's in those groups. But look around, there'll be watch parties throughout the state of Indiana and maybe even outside in major cities. Like you are down in Nashville, you're out in Chicago or whatever. There's going to be watch parties. So
I doubt.
I think one of the things that has me so encouraged about today's game is the fact that Purdue didn't play, at least offensively, nearly as well as what we've seen. 3 for 15 from three, and a lot of those were as wide open as you can get.
Gillis had two in a row that were open. Like we got the offensive rebound, he got another shot and missed. Like,
not one to call out Gillis. I love Gillis. I own a Mason Gillis jersey, but I mean and I feel like he took a lot more. He was 0 for 2 from 3. I feel like he went like 0 for 4. It felt like I don't know. I have the expectation that his shots are going to go in. So maybe it's unfair. Fletcher was 1 for 5. Lance was 1 for 4. But that 3 that he hit was, as Damon said, the biggest 3 of his career up through this point. At least there's probably he has opportunities for more.
Well, and you got to think though too that they probably had. I know that they were all locked in and everything, but they all knew what was at stake today. They knew what they knew, and you've seen it in the press conferences. You've seen it, and I mean immediately they're not celebrating. I mean they're celebrating with each other as a team, but they immediately go run over to Coach Payne and we're like, we're so happy we could do this for you. You deserve it. I mean even Braden and Fletcher. Yesterday or sometime this week, we're being interviewed, and they were talking about how badly they just want to do this for Coach Painter because he's just ran into some bad luck and he deserves it and all this stuff. So I think, maybe part of that played into that too, is I think they put a lot of pressure on themselves today, and, it ended up working out. But I think that definitely probably played into it because they knew it was at stake today.
It feels like we're going to see a different team on Saturday just because of that they're going to not necessarily relax and take anything for granted, but just play a little freer and like a little more like, okay, there's a monkey off the back. Now let's get back to business and beat the brakes off NC State.
Hell yeah. What?
So I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to say a strongly stated opinion here, but I truly believe, in my experience, Tennessee fans are some of the worst people I've ever interacted with.
Yes.
That could be just the subset of Tennessee fans that I've interacted with. I'm not saying they represent the whole of the fan base.
We know good ones, like the Vol Fanatics podcast. They're cool.
Great group of guys.
Sounds like, yep, it's just them.
That's really it.
Dylan, we've talked about the Music City Bowl a lot, and I've never gone to a game where I've had opposing team fans basically come up to me and say, hey, we apologize.
Big win, baby. Big win.
Tennessee fans apologize before the game started and say, hey, look, it's going to get ugly. We come in drunk. We come in pissed off, and it's going to be bad. And we apologize in advance. Like, I was like, what? Like, you contrast that with our Virginia Tech trip this last year, and people are like, oh, hey, cool. Thanks for making the trip. Hope you enjoy your stay. Hope you enjoy the stadium. And even after the game, it was like, hey, that was a good game, guys. Not any, I'd hate to win a game like that. Like, you think anybody said
that's
that?
what I got, dude.
You had somebody say that tonight? Like, I'd hate to win the game because the refs handed it to you.
No, I got that at
the
Music City Bowl.
Yeah,
that's all Twitter
response.
has been. It's like, well, it was 5-on-8 the whole time. Sorry, I shouldn't.
I literally saw a compilation of Zach Edey's fouls that he got called, that got called for him. Somebody made a compilation of every single one, and I'm like, yeah, that's a foul.
Yeah, and the Tennessee fans were like, there were only like 3 actual fouls in there. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, but again, though, tonight, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was plays where, like, especially in the first half, I was getting really worked up. I had family over this afternoon, and at the beginning of that run, like when we got down, was it 32-21? We were down 11, and we called the timeout. That's when I went outside to fix the stakes because I was like, look, I'm about to throw up. I'm about to break something. I don't know. I need to take a break.
About to break some shit.
Then I text the group chat and go, maybe next year, guys.
And then we jump Damon.
That
was a joke, though, everybody.
It was not received well. Yeah. Vinny Sutherland in the chat. Hail Purdue, baby. Agree. Couldn't agree
Vinny,
more.
we still got to get you on the show, brother.
Yeah, Vinny. Please come on. That'd be a lot of fun.
During football season, whenever.
Want to address Cody's comment here. Was it me at Tennessee guarded our 3-point shooting, so we had to play offense in the paint? I don't think so, to be honest. I felt like we got a lot of open threes, it seemed. To me, it just felt like a lot of our threes were pretty open.
Yeah.
In fact, the one that Lance hit was probably one of the more contested threes that we took. Because when he shot it, I said no.
I puckered big time. Big time when that shot went up. But I didn't land that train. I got a little derailed there. I apologize. But during that break, part of the reason I had to take that break in the first half was because there was a play, an inbound early on that got me livid, where the guy literally was like bear hugging Edey from behind.
Yeah.
On an inbound, and they didn't call. So
the whole game. The whole game.
You remember me a couple pods ago? I was like, I get a little bit of the frustration of other teams because they kind of set the standard of, okay, so we can bear hug him, we can put 2 hands on him, we can do all this stuff. Cool, they're letting us play, and then you touch him in a way that's a foul still, and then they call that a foul. Like, I understand a little bit of like, okay, like how were all those not fouls, but this one was. Like, I get that a little bit, but those should be fouls too. Like, it shouldn't be. It's still a foul. Like, you can complain about that being called and getting away with the other stuff, but it's still a foul.
The college basketball rule book states putting 2 hands on the ball handler is a foul. That's it. Yeah. That happens constantly. And
every play
during the game, I just kept saying it. 2 hands, 2 hands, 2 hands.
Well, I'm from Tennessee, and I disagree with that statement.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the last 4 hours of me on X, Dylan. It's just been with like, well, my opinion says otherwise, and I'm like, well,
buddy,
okay.
My wife just read me your tweet, and I did not agree with it.
Yeah. Tennessee fans are like, oh, there's 4 hands on him.
Want to address Vinny? I got it. I'm going to read through Vinny's comments here. So Vinny said Edey could have fouled out 2 guys early. How about the guy guarding him with 2 forearms and an anchor leg? Yeah, there was that was happening a lot. They were double arm bar, and Painter was calling for it. I mean, it was physical.
Yep.
Vinny says he can't wait to get to Phoenix. And finally, Vinny says you fellas better be at the spring game.
April 13th. I'm bringing the fam up. I'll be there. I'm bringing the fam up for the spring game.
You're bringing the fam up, Russ?
If Russ is going, I'm not going.
Yeah. If I'm not out of town, I will be there.
I didn't tell you fellas, but I told Frank when I actually left to watch the Gonzaga game with Frank Friday night. My daughter was like, "Can I come watch a game with you, Daddy?"
No,
so I was like,
awesome.
I was like, "Oh man, okay, we got to watch a game." So, and then I was like, "Hey, spring game, it's free. You kind of make a day of it. It's at noon, so noon games are actually
get to meet the players and stuff."
Yeah. That means I got to leave here at like 7 a.m.
Yeah. Oh.
It'd be all right, old man. This comment here from
Dylan
Cody
won't come anyway.
Absolutely.
Shut up.
Cody's comment here is absolutely hilarious. All I heard when Lance hit the dagger was that Titanic music meme.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Frank, did you see the tweet that I sent you in the private chat? You should pull that up. It's a picture of
or just now.
Just like 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes ago. It's a picture. It's pictures of the crowd stretching from the Purdue Airport tarmac to the tracks on Airport Road and onto US 231. That's how many people are there.
Damn.
If you wanted to pull those up and show everybody that's listening or watching
it?
The private chat on StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I thought
we're all
you
looking
meant
at our
like
phones.
We know. Yeah, we never.
Like,
I
heck,
never
yeah.
look at it.
Wow, guys, say I don't know how to use StreamYard. Jeez.
Well,
we
yeah,
never use
I
the
didn't
private chat on
realize you meant
StreamYard.
the internal, StreamYard private chat. Yeah, let's see if I can figure out how to
Little
do
peek behind
this
this
here.
professional curtain for y'all.
That
We're
super
Yeah,
professional curtain.
We're so good at what we do.
Damon and I did a pregame show where we talked about basketball for maybe 5 minutes, and the show was 45 minutes long.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Whoa,
So
we're
Vinny,
getting fancy.
while you guys are pulling that up, Vinny brought up a good point that this is going to be like, you remember when Northwestern first made the tournament under Collins, and you saw like every kind of halfway known Northwestern grad at that first round game? I feel like that's what's going to happen in Phoenix with Purdue in the Final Four. Like, you're going to see a ton of not just former basketball players, but former football players.
Let's go,
Here we go.
Boilers!
That's awesome.
Let's go, Boilers!
All the cops there are like, well, what are we gonna do?
What is this?
Wow.
Did I get left off the side of the screen here? You guys are messed up.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Vinny, follow me on
Wonder-
Twitter, by the way, while we're at it.
Yeah, Vinny, if lots of players are going to be in town, you gotta hook us up, man. We got to get everyone together, go live at the spring game, something like that.
Oh, great.
That'd be
I have to
great.
be verified.
Oh, was he talking about the
again,
spring
Vinny.
game? I thought he was talking about in Phoenix, but I guess both could work. But yeah,
No,
I
he's
think
talking about-
I think we're talking.
there's a
about
lot of
the
hype.
spring game.
Regardless of what happens in this Final Four, I think that the spring game is going to be lit because we're coming off the Final Four.
Lit.
People are still hyped about Walters and what the second year holds for Purdue for him. So it's going to be a good time to be a Boiler fan the rest of this month and the rest of this.
I'm
summer,
having
really, I
fun. I
think.
don't know about you guys. I'm having a pretty good time over here,
So
especially living in
the-
Ohio.
So I just need you guys to know that
Both.
the
Yep, there you
distance
go.
from Purdue University Airport to 231 is 3 miles. So that is a stretch of 3 miles of people. If that is as far as if
How
that's,
awesome
like,
is
lit-
that? How
That's
awesome
amazing.
is that? Potentially 3 miles of people.
And you know what's funny is I literally on the last episode I was talking about look at
Super.
how much Painter has developed this team where we were celebrating a regular season win against Wisconsin where people were showing up at the airport and then the next day we were at the airport again, but it's because we're going to the Final Four. Like, that's insane. I got goosebumps just saying that. Holy moly. Come on, somebody.
And dude, the way that Painter talked about, I mean, I know the baby Boiler class was special to him, and is special to him, especially because of how public of a persona Robbie is now. But to hear him talk about tonight, that basically saved his career. Like, if he didn't have the baby Boilers coming in at the beginning of his career, when it got to that low point when people were calling for his head and calling for his job, which, by the way, hope you guys are off the bandwagon. The guys that call for Painter getting fired every year. Don't be celebrating this Final Four. This ain't for you. This ain't for you. This is for us. This is for the true believers. The guys that started this freaking podcast because we got tired of the negativity in this fan base. Like, it's not for y'all.
Oh wait.
That's
Anyways,
right. I just
I don't
keep
know
the
what I was gonna
negativity in
say.
our group chat. Yeah. Anyway.
to the gentleman who I yelled at walking out of the Purdue Virginia game in 2019, who said this is as far as we'll ever get with Painter. Emotions were high. I'm not proud of my behavior at that time.
I can't imagine.
But screw
doing
you.
something like that.
Yeah, to the
Hey,
guy
I
that
wanna-
said
I
that
really
yelled at
wanna-
Braden Smith's dad after that game last year. Yeah.
Oh man,
Get out of here.
I really want to highlight this comment here from Vol Fanatic Show, who we just complimented a few minutes ago. Congrats on the win. That was a fantastic game today. Wish you nothing but luck in the Final Four.
Hats off.
Appreciate it, man.
Once Purdue gets theirs, I'm going to be wishing your team just as much luck, because that's
Bro,
another program that deserves success in March, just like Purdue does. But
we were talking
crazy
earlier.
game.
I think Frank. Yeah, I think you mentioned it being like an Elite Eight style game. I think this was a national semifinal style game.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, for
Connect
sure.
and Edie literally were it was a slobber knocker. They were two heavyweights just going at it. Ugh,
It truly had the feel of a heavyweight boxing match. Just Tennessee threw the big punch early, and Purdue came back with the counter, and it was like, they got up off the mat and they were still fighting, and they were just throwing haymakers the whole second half. And I felt like Purdue kind of won with some body shots there at the end, just kind of wore the opponent out a little bit. But yeah, just
and then the
a
video
heck
of
a game.
Edie and his mom embracing, and his mom, it looked like
Bro.
she was maybe emotional. Oh
Bro.
man.
Well, because
and
the last clip of Purdue basketball in the tournament was Edie's mom holding her like hands in her face, like sad because we're walking off after getting beat by FDU. So yeah, that was cool to see.
Yeah.
But
Man,
Frank, were you the one that was saying that you were nervous
everything.
about playing Tennessee again? Like way back when we talked about our opponent?
I would have been nervous about playing any team in the Elite Eight, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I was especially afraid of Tennessee just because they're extremely good defensively. They have who's probably runner up for National Player of the Year. I wouldn't be extremely shocked if he wins National Player of the Year if Connect won it, just because of the bias they seem to have toward guards. And I feel like that narrative shifting a little bit. I mean, look at all Final Four teams that have dominant bigs. I just something to point out.
That's true. That's true. But this was kind of like the epitome of what I was wanting when I said I want Tennessee. Like, we kind of killed several demons. Like, this wasn't just like a, kill the Final Four demon. This wasn't like a kill the how we finished the game against Virginia demon. This wasn't just get the FDU monkey off our back. It also kind of helped, like, with the fact that it was Tennessee. It was like, it proved, because, like, Tennessee seems like that fan base and that team that's like, well, what have you done in the last game? Like, even though we've beat them in, the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16 before, we beat them in, the exempt tournaments before, we beat them in Big City Bowl. Like, if we didn't beat them tonight, it was like, are we phonies? Are we posers? So, like, it was poetic the way that ended.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. We were all, I said on the last episode how if anybody, I'd love to beat Tennessee again, just because of the kind of the rivalry that's been brewing with them over the last few years. But as the game got closer and closer and then started, I was like, you know what? We've beaten them in like the last 3 times within like different sports, volleyball, basketball, football. I was like, it's honestly just of how momentum works. I was like, it's time for them to get theirs. And so I was like, I'm just going to be honest. I was somewhat expecting like Tennessee to pull away today, just because we've had so much success against them recently. I was just like, oh man, it's going to come around. But thankfully I was wrong. Thankfully I was very wrong.
So I want to
did we were talking about Vinny's last comment? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, let's address this one and we'll move to Vinny's comment. So the comment says, is it fair to say if we played like we did today, we get smoked by UConn?
I don't
Depends
think
on
so,
how UConn would play.
Even Connect was like, he couldn't miss for a good portion of the game, and they still went cold from 3. So, and they'd still have to go through our defense. Like, yes, offensively, we didn't hit some shots that we wanted to hit. We struggled from the free throw line, but teams have to deal with us too. Like we've talked about that all year, back to like Omar Ballo in Arizona and them talking about, oh, how's Purdue going to deal with Ballo? People don't talk enough about how they're going to deal with Purdue. Like, yes, we could have an off game, but like you have to play a perfect game or near perfect game to beat us still. Like, even if we have an off game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, I think you're absolutely right in that our defense would dictate the outcome of that game. And I feel like Purdue's defense has been really, really good. So it was UConn's. UConn's defense has been pretty good. They did smoke Illinois yesterday. I don't think I've ever seen a 30-0 run in basketball before at any level. Maybe high school. If I'm recalling that, I can't remember. But I feel like it would really just come down to Purdue's defense. And just when you look at this game by quarter, right? So in the first quarter, first 10 minutes, Purdue and Tennessee were even 17-17. Second quarter, Purdue 19, Tennessee 17. Third quarter, Purdue 18, Tennessee 14, and then we were dead even at 18 each in the fourth quarter. So just that second and third quarter is where this game was won. Which it's just I think the fact that Purdue played far from their best game, we still came away with the win. Majority of that was earned on the defensive end. I see that as a good thing going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a hard question to answer because, like, yes, we have all this data, we have all these analytics that help you predict how a team is going to play, and you've seen how they have played. But I mean, honestly, I mean, it's the NCAA tournament. Like, any team can play any way. UConn could play really great for 5 straight games, 6 straight games, and then just have a dud of a national championship game. Not very likely, but it can still happen. Like,
well, look at our next opponent. They're an 11 seed.
Right.
Making a run to the Final Four. Like, it shows how this tournament is literally what have you done in the last 40 minutes. That's all that matters.
On the comment here from the Vol Fanatic Show, for anyone who doesn't know, they're a Tennessee sports podcast. Definitely go check them out. They put out some really good content. The comment they have here is that's one flaw the Tennessee had on this team: no dominant big man. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to have that complement with the outside shooting of Ziegler and Vescovy and Dalton Connect, and then having that inside kind of dominant presence. That was was interesting. There's a follow-up comment to the UConn here. I think we would crumble under the pressure UConn applies. We only saw 15% of our threes going in. Yeah, I mean it's definitely possible. And one thing I liked about today's game too is that when the threes weren't falling, we kind of switched things up a little bit. You saw a lot more guys attacking off the dribble and and whatnot. I was impressed with that.
Yeah.
And then a comment here.
By the way,
Illinois
Vol
got blown out
Fanatics
mentally.
I was gonna say Vol Fanatics, you can have Cliff Amori as long as we don't play you again next year.
Yeah,
Take him out of the Big Ten.
and technically, this would really suck. But technically, you could pay Zach Edey a hefty amount of money for him to come back for his COVID year.
A lot.
I mean,
a whole lot of money.
that'd be one insane world to live in, where Zach just randomly was like, you know what, Rick, I forgive you. Thanks for the $20 million.
So this is a great comment here. Illinois got blown out mentally in the 30-0 run more than they did physically. Couldn't agree more. And I think that's what the comment about UConn, it was, we have a follow up here, is that it was more of a mental crumble. So that's a really good. There are all sorts of things that could happen. But before we get to UConn, we have another opponent standing on our way, another double-digit seed, and I can hear him. I can hear it now. 4 straight years, Purdue falls to double-digit seeds, right? Which just
completely takes away the Final Four.
Sounds like Cody's doing the Lord's work out there. He gave all those Purdue haters or doubters. He let them know what seed number we were this year.
Cody's a ride or die.
No, the Tennessee fan who thought we were a 3 seed and was just parading it all over Twitter. That was
fun. The guy that blew up my DMs for like 4 hours last night and then blocked me after the game?
He insulted your physical appearance, which makes no sense. You're very
called me ugly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I understand that.
I mean,
you should have sent him that SpongeBob clip where he's like, "I'm ugly and I'm proud."
No, I just sent him the Mr. Krabs playing the small violin.
Hey, Vinny, thanks for
love you, Vinny.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
I slid in your DMs, Vinny. By the way.
Whoa.
Hey.
Yeah. We haven't come close to our potential. It's a great comment. I agree. I mean, I feel like the best Purdue's looks is honestly the game in Bloomington, offensively, defensively. I think
the second half against Utah State. The second half against Utah State was pretty complete.
Russ's family in the chat again. You love to see it.
Love to see it.
Yeah,
love to see
it. They
have
to deal with that son of a gun all the time. Good Lord.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by this next game being a little bit of like the monkey's off our back. Now go play your game. This could be, this next game on Saturday could be like a warning to whoever wins on the other side of the bracket. Like this is what we could look like.
So I don't know how much NC State you guys have watched in the tournament. I have seen quite a bit of their tournament. How are we feeling about that game just as a whole? So to put some numbers to that, Ken Pom predicts an 11-point win with 82% confidence. I think Purdue opened as 9.5-point favorites already. I know they don't see themselves as a Cinderella. It's interesting this season how that term's kind of almost become an insult for a lot of people. The mindset is we deserve to be here. We're not, Cinderella. Just kind of recapping NC State's end of the season. So they went 0-4 to end the season. They lost to Florida State. They lost to North Carolina. They lost to Duke, who they just beat tonight to go to the Final Four. They lost to Pittsburgh, who was a fringe tournament team. And now they have won 9 in a row. They beat Louisville in the ACC tournament. They beat Syracuse. They beat Duke. They beat Virginia they had to hit a half-court buzzer beater to force overtime against Virginia, and they beat North Carolina in the ACC tournament to get their tournament berth. Now they're here. They stomped Texas Tech. They beat Oakland in overtime. That was a fun game. They beat Marquette, who had been struggling, but they beat them pretty convincingly. And then tonight they beat Duke. And I felt like tonight's game, it felt more like Duke was missing a lot of easy shots, more so than, and I'm not discrediting NC State by any means, but that's probably why Vegas is heavy on Purdue right now. But we get to see 2 of the most entertaining bigs in the country go at it. So I'm excited. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Sorry, I just caught a video on my other monitor here. The Purdue basketball team is riding the Boilermaker special through West Lafayette right now, and with being followed by this whole parade of this 3-mile long row of a line of people, which is just
there footage of Chris running behind it or
The comment here would love to see us dominate NC State to get the train back with some momentum. Yeah, I agree. And I think that, obviously the most entertaining player for NC State, in my opinion, is going to be DJ Burns, right? He's the 6'9", 280-pound big man with a crazy passing ability, that kind of rivals Travion. 25% assist percentage for him on the season. He's a guy that if you double him, he's really good at passing out. He's just an entertaining guy to watch play. I'll be curious to see how Purdue looks to contain him. Purdue's been pretty good doubling this season, and he's not the most athletic guy. So I think that if we can just contain his passing, we got a comment here. He's like an overweight Travion. Yeah, that's a really good.
I think he compared himself in an interview to Zach Randolph. Said I can't remember. He said like this big is like who I always wanted to play like, but he's like I had just happened to be given the body type of Zach Randolph.
He's electric. He's fun to watch.
So Frank,
a lot of people compare
the stat guy
to Zach.
I want to call a little bit of CBB analytics here because I looked up what their last 5 games were, NC State, and some of the things they're training on. They're in the 6th percentile in offensive rebounds per game. 6th in offensive. You want to guess what their percentile is for defensive rebounds a game?
I mean, I have it on my screen, so maybe someone else should guess. Yeah,
Dylan Damon. If they're 6th in offensive rebounding, what do you think they are in defensive rebounding?
11th.
I was gonna say 10th. Honestly,
100th.
Oh shit!
So they're apparently they're the elite of the elite defensive rebounding, but they cannot get an offensive board, which tells me that we might see Edey's footwork actually kind of shine against a big like that. Like, yes, he's a problem. Yes, you got to deal with him. But it seems like maybe he posts up on defense, gets under the basket, and he pulls down those defensive boards. But on offense, when he doesn't have a position already, they struggle getting the boards on offense. That's kind of what I see.
Russ, those numbers are wildly different than what I'm reading over here.
Did you guys see that Fletcher Lawyer flubbed the stamping the Purdue on the Final Four thing on the big board? I flipped it upside down. It's like, sorry, nervous. Haven't been here before. First time.
So we're looking at NC State, right?
Correct.
NC State this season.
Correct.
Battle of the brains.
Fascinating.
Right. Or brains.
What do you have, Frank?
Can you see
No, we can't see that. You old Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, easy.
Russ, are you sure?
I heard that word.
Are you sure that's not for the game? Because I'm pretty sure I saw Duke on the screen. Are you sure that's not?
But it says last 5. It didn't say game. It says
you're looking at their last 5 games.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Because that's what I think that's what you got to do with this team.
I'm looking at season stats. I'm looking at their stats for the season. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, because I'm looking at their run because you look at the team they were at the end of the season. They lost 7 of their last 9 games in the regular season.
Yeah, let me flip mine. So our awesome sponsor, CBB Analytics, has the ability to just flip. You can look at
family
season. You can look at
my
last
dad's.
5.
You can look at last family. My family's in the comments.
Home versus away. You can look at postseason only. Yeah, let's look at postseason only.
Hold on, can we pull up the Noodles comment? His latest comment.
Love how Dylan lets the other 3 do the work.
I'm over here lounging.
Dylan is here for his awesome personality. And
he's our personality hire.
He's the morale hire. He's the morale
personality hire.
Morale and the
That's the perfect way. And I'm the director of morale is my legal position.
Legal term.
My legal name. It's my government name. He's director of morale.
God, I am the personality hire. That's a great way to put it.
So Russ,
yes, that was great.
Russ, so postseason only, that includes conference tournament and NCAA tournament. 25th percentile offensive rebounding at 9 per game. I'll just put it per game. 95th percentile in defensive rebounds per game. They average 28 defensive rebounds per game. So, and just to go back to tonight's game for 1 second, I think Purdue out rebounded Tennessee by something like 20. I think it was. It was pretty significant. I can get the actual number here, but I just think that you look at that, you look at something like 20 total rebounds difference. You look at field goal percentage. Okay, Purdue was like 55%, I think it was, from the floor. There's so many stats from CBB Analytics, but it was something like for 55% compared to Tennessee's 36%. But like you can look at those 2 things, but like overlook that and just go right to like, oh, it was the refs. That's the crazy part that drives me crazy. It's like, well, they didn't shoot the ball terrifically, they didn't rebound very well, but like fouls. I mean, that's like, and it's Probably a combination of all three, but to me, that's just a lazy argument. And it's one that sheds responsibility away from the players, the coach, and all that onto just like something that was just, completely out of people's control. But I know, like, as a Purdue fan, I would love to see teams not foul Zach Edey. I would love to see that. Love to see him just attack. But
yeah, that meme you made about the Tennessee fans taking that exit, everybody's seen that car meme, taking the exit, saying, hey, instead of blaming that, like all actual issues, I'm just going to blame the refs. I sent that to one of my friends that's a Tennessee fan, and he hasn't responded yet. We haven't talked at all today.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder why. Did he block you on Twitter too?
Yeah, so Tennessee finished at 38.7% from the floor, which is in the 22nd percentile, 36% from two, which is in the 5th percentile for a game. They shot pretty well from three, 42% from three, which is in the 80th percentile. But to me, those three numbers, when you look at those and combine them in combination, they hit a lot of threes, missed a lot of twos. And if we look at the shot chart, again, provided by our amazing sponsor, CBB Analytics, they were 1 for 12 on mid-range twos, 7 for 17 from the pin in the paint, at 41%, which is very, very low. They only had 7 shots at the rim. Wow. So, and they were 5 for 7 on those shots.
Frank, I know you noticed a couple of those late game ball screens they had where Braden, I believe it was, trailed Connect coming off that to kind of force him to drive or take a mid-range, and he missed those mid-ranges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just looking at the shot chart here for Tennessee, you can see a ton of dots around the rim, but you also see a ton of dots around the free throw line, and they're all blue, meaning that they didn't go in. So that's just an interesting story. They were 1 for 12 on mid-range twos. That's in my opinion the story of the game right there. A few more of those go in, that changes the game. But does anyone want to guess what the D1 average is on a mid-range two? Like, how often does that shot go in?
I don't know, but I don't like drop coverage. I'm just saying, okay, guys, I hate it. I hate drop coverage because it just looks to me like, oh, we'll just.
We're in the Final Four, Damon. It works.
I know it works. Okay, I still don't like it. It still just looks to me like I'm not gonna play defense. I'm not gonna play defense, and it drives me insane. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Anyway,
36% on mid-range twos.
36%. I didn't even get a chance to guess.
You can't do that after he says the answer.
Okay, sorry, Russ. Sorry. Okay, so a mid-range two goes in 36% of the time. Now, how often does a three go in?
42%.
We got 34, 30, 32. Dylan?
No, go ahead. Say the answer.
I said 42.
42? Okay, threes are made at 33% on average.
That's what I was going to say.
So a mid-range two goes in 36% of the time. A three goes in 33% of the time. So you're trading 3% for one extra point for a 50% increase in the outcome of that shot. So that's why drop coverage has prevailed so much, because you're giving up a 36% shot that is only worth 2 points.
Okay, so I guess drop coverage doesn't work when it comes to 3-pointers, does it? Because I was going to say, like my whole argument was going to be, so should Tennessee have just let that girl from South Carolina shoot that wide open three to win the game? That was drop coverage, right?
Oh, that was not.
That was just poor defense. That wasn't drop coverage. There was no screen there.
Drop coverage looks like to me, guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, no. So for some more numbers behind that, Damon, I think when you hit the roll man on a pick and roll, that shot will yield, I think, 1.2 points per shot is what the college average is right now. But if you let the guard shoot out of a pick and roll, that now goes from 1.2 to I think around 0.85. So that's why aggressive ball screen coverage is really decreased in popularity for that reason, because a lot of teams are now realizing that analytically it's better to have the ball handler shoot than it is to let the roll man just dive to the basket. So you contain the roll man and you dare someone to shoot. That's the reason why we're seeing it a lot more.
Yeah.
EK drop coverage 50%. Yeah. I mean, that was tough. He hit 7 threes this season and 4 were against Purdue. Here's a comment here: if you run an entire offense through one player, that player needs to log more than 1 assist. Might also help if you have more than 3 rebounds. Connect is a very good scorer, but no way in the conversation with Edey. Yeah, I feel like a lot of those.
That's one way to spell Edie.
Yeah, that's not where I thought that comment was going to end. When I saw that, I was like, "What's going on here?"
That's
so for anyone listening, it was a capital E, capital D,
and that guy's name is
Edie,
Dick. So
Edie was
Dick's still alive.
Yeah,
we got Dick talking about ED.
Yeah, so
right out of characters. All right, okay, you get a pass, Dick. Appreciate you.
So in your all's opinion, what does the path look like to win this game and to get to a national championship game?
I think we just got to score more points than NC State.
I like that. Yeah, that's a great
first team to 69.
That's a really good strategy.
No, I mean, I think it's what always helps Purdue win games. Hit free throws, don't turn the ball over as much, and I think the free throw and rebound.
Yeah, I think the simple path is rebound. Yes, like that's a weird disparity that they have going on there. So we gotta battle and win that battle. But I think the Edie, like I said earlier, he's got to display his foot movement, his athleticism, and this is working out perfect for him, right? Like he got the head with Connect and got to display that, head to head, he was able to pull his team through over Connect, because it basically was those two guys tonight pulling their team through. Yes, there was auxiliary pieces. Braden was key for us. There's other pieces key for them. But now he gets a chance to, against one of the more exciting bigs in this tournament in NC State's Burns, he gets to display his footwork and how much he's improved. Because I think that when he moves around and Burns has to chase him around the perimeter, when he's doing those ball screens, when he's doing that action with Braden, it's going to expose him and it's going to make Edie look that much more athletic.
And I haven't gone back and watched the game yet. I probably will tonight or first thing in the morning. But I felt like Purdue did a really good job of running actions to get Edie one-on-one. They did a lot of like kind of floppy, where you're sending Fletcher off of the option of multiple ball screens, and then they switched, and the lifting action of him out of the paint left Edie one-on-one and made it really hard to double, because you obviously have to respect Fletcher's shooting. I just felt like offensively Painter came in with a really, really good game plan. But one thing, Russ, when I look at NC State on paper, it's one thing they talked about tonight too during the Duke game, is that they're elite in transition. They love to get out in transition. They're a dangerous transition team, and the numbers don't show that, actually. When you look at,
I was gonna say, what that was all red when I looked at their numbers.
Yeah, when I look at, so they average 9.8 fast break points per game in the postseason. I'm looking at just postseason numbers, and that's in the 58th percentile. So it's not, crazy. It's not elite. It's not.
What's up,
Eric? Yeah, we're going to welcome in Eric from the OHIO podcast. Tough loss for your Buckeyes. Almost said Hawkeyes.
Who cares? No,
tough loss for the Hawkeyes, Eric, but happy to have you on.
Hey, man. Can I just be honest with you guys? I'm super happy for you guys.
Thank you.
I really
is this what it feels like to be close to playing for a championship? This is awesome.
Isn't it awesome feeling? Yeah, it's
so
awesome. Cool. Way to represent the Big Ten. I thought today's game was awesome. It was a great game. It was freaking fun to watch.
Glad you had fun. I was about to cry every 3 minutes.
Dylan, here's the thing, Dylan. Like, stop making me cry, man. With the dad, I'm so happy, and this is for you, Dad.
I'm like, it really gets.
I'm
people.
like, gosh, dang it! Like Dylan's like,
That's
hey, Jesus, it's Easter. You're risen from the grave. You're a boiler today, Jesus.
Yeah, he
Jesus
was.
is like,
hallelujah. That's in the Bible.
God loves Purdue. We know that.
And he's like, you guys got Zach Edey. So
I think that's in Revelations or something.
it's in the book somewhere.
So congratulations, guys. Cheers, man. Fantastic job. A lot of fun to watch. Beat the pants off of NC State, man. Do it. Go to the championship. You're here. Go get it, right? Like,
too bad Chris couldn't come in and congratulate us, but we know he's a hater.
Well, Chris has got bedtime.
You're talking about Chris from the Ohio podcast. I was like,
yeah, no, they're Chris, not our Chris.
Yeah. Chris is our vinegar bitter man. Like, he's always pessimistic. So
he's the namesake of our rivalry trophy, the Chris Wildman Wilds Memorial Trophy. But he's alive. Asterisk.
That weekend we came to West Lafayette. Dude was on his deathbed. Like, he was like pale as the white horse, man.
He walked up and I was like, oh.
Dude's had COVID like 5 times. He just got over COVID like the 4th or 5th time. And Dylan's like, are you gonna make it?
They had to help him to a seat.
Yeah, Big Mac Mary might have picked something up 'cause she was sitting next to him. But hey, guys, I just want to say congratulations. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
Looking
man.
forward to some big news. Hey, man, win that national championship. We'll celebrate with you, and then we'll drop some huge news on everybody. Sound good?
Hey, give us a
Absolutely.
boiler up real quick.
Boiler up, man.
There
Do
we
it.
go.
For it,
There
There
man.
we go. There we go.
Hey, you guys have a heck of a basketball coach too.
Don't you love him? He's
In
awesome.
the, in the
I
8
hate that I
seconds
like
of
him.
conversation that I had with him as he sat next to me on a plane, he seemed like a really nice guy. So,
So I have known him
It's a
since
really
he was in
short
high
plane
school.
flight.
Oh, crazy.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
I've known
Crazy. I
him
gotta
since
hear
he was
that
in high
story.
school. And well, yeah, real quick. A good friend of mine, Doug Gerald, has passed away. He was a big Buckeye fan. He lived in a little town called Bucyrus, and just south of Upper Sandusky, which is where those boys, John and Jake Diebler, played, and their dad coached. And so he goes, "Hey, let's go watch these Diebler kids play." And I'm like, "All right, let's go." So we started watching them, and so I got to see Jake Diebler, and when he was a senior, and his brother John was a freshman, and got to meet them. And so I've known him since then. And then he went to Valparaiso, is where he went to college, and so I followed his career while he was there. He coaches just like he played. He is tenacious. He's not the he's not the biggest kid. He's not the best kid. All of that went to his little brother John, who was like owns the 3-point record at Ohio State. But Jake was like the heartbeat of everything, and that's how he coaches, man. And we love it. And the Buckeye Nation, it just ate him up when he took over, and he won that job. Like he literally went out there, and the players flipped the switch and played like crazy for him, and he won the job. Like I don't know how you don't give it the job to him. There's a
So-
small group of Buckeye fans who are like, we should have went for someone else. I'm like, why? Look at how that team played under him.
They wanted to bring back Urban Meyer to coach the basketball team.
So you're telling me we've got like an Aaron Kraft type that we got to deal with coaching Ohio State now?
You got it.
Nice.
Damn.
Great.
I mean,
Hey,
they'll
well-
never catch up to us, but that's fine.
I mean,
Ooh.
I don't. So the expectation for Ohio State, just so you guys know, moving forward, is like we would love for him, and we are thinking NCAA within the first 2 years. It might take him a year, and then depends on who stays and who leaves. Roster's not bad. And they might be good enough to sneak into the NCAA next year. And if they play like they finished this year, Buckeyes are going to be in next year.
I mean, there was
So,
talk. They
first
were
year.
a fringe bubble team this season.
We were 1 win away, man. 1 win
And we
away.
tried helping you
Yeah.
out. We
I
tried our
know.
damnedest.
I know, appreciate it, but hey, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, congratulations, guys. I don't want to take up your show. Love it. Keep following you, rooting for you. Keep doing it, man. The Buckeyes are backing you, man. Have a good night.
Love you, Eric.
Love you, buddy.
Appreciate that, Eric. Thanks a lot.
Take care, guys.
We lost Damon in there
See.
somewhere. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know where Damon went. Whoa, this is a little too zoomed
He
in.
sent a message and said he had to bounce. So
Oh.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, so
Fair weather.
I'll take back some of the things I said about the rest of the Big Ten. Ohio State, if they want to claim us and give us credit for being a Big Ten team that's taking the monkey off the Big Ten back, I'll give it to them. But the Illinois, the Michigan States, the Iowas, Indianas, no, you don't get to claim this one.
Hey, did you guys see Coleman Hawkins tweeted that he was supporting Purdue? I thought that was a kind gesture.
That was cool. That was very cool.
yeah.
Dadgummit, why you got to say that, man?
Why?
It
Why
was.
you gotta give him
I mean, I don't like Coleman Hawkins.
Are you sure he wasn't joking?
Oh,
Sure
that was
wasn't his
good.
burner.
That was good. Yeah, that was Let's see.
Cody, don't give Russ credit. Don't.
Hey,
Cody's
Cody,
egging me
you're a
on.
good man. You're a good man. He's doing the Lord's work. He's letting people know for me. I appreciate it.
So let's move on to prediction. I feel like it's prediction time. That sound good to you guys? Like, and we can
leave our prediction. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and maybe we typically do score. Maybe we don't do score today. Maybe we just talk about what happens
Tuesday
in the
night
game.
still. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Are
maybe
we
we just talk
doing a
about what
Tuesday show?
happens in the game, who goes off, who
do you want in the final? Do you want Alabama again? Do you want? And we could have another rematch.
Give me the
know,
Tide.
And I know we always joked about playing the same teams. We played NC State in the ACC Big Ten Challenge a few times. You go back to especially the beginning of Painter's tenure. So,
yeah, didn't we? The year with Ivy, we were down like double digits in the Big Ten ACC Challenge against them, and came back and won it. That was a big game. But I don't know. Well, what? Yeah, let's start there. Who would you rather play between UConn and Alabama, assuming Purdue gets past NC State, which is a strong assumption. I don't know. Alabama looks really good. UConn looks like a behemoth right now.
Yeah, UConn scares the hell out of me.
I'm gonna go with Alabama.
Yeah, I would rather play Alabama.
With Alabama, you know what you have to do. You know what you have to stop. You have to shut down their perimeter shooting. You have to get back in transition. You basically you play drop coverage, right? They're not going to take that shot. But with UConn, they have so many different looks they can throw at you. They have such a complicated offense. They run you off of 20 screens. It seems like I don't know. I think that I don't think we'll get Bama. But if I had a choice, it would be Bama because the game plan's a little bit more straightforward. Where UConn's so diverse in their lineups and what they can put on the floor. They can go big, they can go small. Their offenses could rival Painters, in my opinion, for just from a complexity and number of plays standpoint. I mean, every time I watch them, I'm like, this like stagger screens going this way, right into a triple baseline stagger, right into a pick and roll, but there's a weak side flare screen. I mean, it's such a complicated offense. But yeah, people seem to be split in the comments. We got votes for Bama, we got votes here for UConn. I want to beat the beast. We got all sorts of comments. People saying they want UConn. What do you guys think?
I like either way. I like both sides. I think, playing Bama continues that, theme of proving it / redemption tour, right? Like, because when we win these non-con games like we did this year and every other year, people say, well, do it in March, do it in April. Like, we'll talk to us then. Like, okay, we're beating those same teams now in the tournament. But like with UConn, I saw someone comment in there that UConn could be like one of the all-time great NCAA championship games. That team and how dominant they were last year and how they've been this year, and how people have talked about how, Purdue and UConn have been the two most dominant teams in this tournament. Like, to see Edey go at it with that team, like, could be a instant classic. So I think
the biggest advantage. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it could be a game where you need to keep a bucket by you in case you got to throw up, because it's gonna be a rough one to have to watch. But I think it'd be classic.
Yeah, I think the biggest advantage Purdue would have over UConn is they've been in this situation, right? They had to kind of grind one out against Tennessee today. UConn hasn't had to do that, and sometimes that can be a disadvantage. Illinois missed a ton of shots. Illinois missed a ton of layups against UConn, and that's that the ability to grind out a win is a skill. It's something you need to practice. They played an easy schedule. They played in a fairly weak league. People argued that all season. Only 3 teams from the Big East got in, and none of them really went very far. Marquette limped their way through their first 2 games. Obviously, they had some injuries, but Creighton did get to the Elite 8, right? And they hung in there with Tennessee. But I just think that that UConn's both teams are scary. They're literally scary. In the comment here, UConn or bust. We need to silence every national pundit that just slobbers over the Huskies. Yeah, I hope that would happen. I hope that they would be silent, but then they would just call us foul merchants or the ugliest basketball I've ever seen, or something like that.
But I mean, we're officially at the point where I don't care what people say. Like, so I've told you guys a little bit at the chat that I'm in. That's a fantasy football league in the area. That they're all IU fans, Kentucky fans, or Louisville fans, and they always give me crap about Purdue and this, that, and the other, and give these excuses and whatever.
I used to be in that league.
No, it's not. That's a different one from work, from when I used to work at Famous Dave's. But I fully expected them to say, "Oh, well, the refs got you the game" or whatever, and I was just like, "Who cares what they say?" Like, we're officially at the point where we're in the Final Four. Who cares? Just go win, baby. Like, whatever it takes. Like, I don't care what the excuses are, what they say. Barnes can sit there and complain about the officials over and over, and then at the end say, "Oh, but I'm not want to complain about officiating." Like, I don't care what's said. Like, what matters is you have the more points on the scoreboard at the end of the game. That's that.
Dylan, what do you think? How do you think this next game's going to go, and who would you rather play?
NC State looks good, and I don't think they're a team we should, not pay attention to. What I mean? We should take them serious because they deserve to be taken serious because they made it this far as an 11 seed. 30 for NC State. I can't remember his name. He's a dog. He's really good. He's got a really fun personality, I think.
DJ Burns. They have 2 DJs, DJ Horn, DJ Burns, which is
Burns
confusing.
Burns is the big dude.
Burns is the larger fellow.
Yeah, he's electric. So yeah, I feel good playing
He's
NC
built
State.
like a brick. Sorry,
brick shit house. But yeah, they don't take him lightly, and I think Payne's the best when he's given time to prepare, and obviously we got about a week to prepare. But my pick is always the same. It's been the same all year, and that is Boilers by a damn billion.
Yeah,
I rest my case, Your Honor.
Well,
I know you pulled a comment up earlier, but their head coach actually said that they want to beat teams by a bunch of points because they don't do well in close games. So
I respect Dan Hurley as a coach from his, from how he coaches his team, how he prepares his team. But he's just one of the silliest guys. Like just this whole, like, it's us against the world. They're trying to stack the deck against us. We have to go to Brooklyn to play. I'm like, what?
Like Kirby Smart in Georgia. Everybody doubted us. Nobody said we were going to win. You've won.
Like, what are you talking about? You're like, your team's the most like beloved team. Like all the media is like hanging off of your arms. Like just like
the Kansas
they can't
City
talk
Chiefs
about them enough.
The Chiefs do the same thing. They're the like a dynasty right now. Like everyone said we couldn't do it. And we're like, who said you couldn't do it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they did it last season. I don't know. It's so weird. It's such a weird thing, and I wonder if that's just something he's trying to instill into his players. But he said it during an interview, and talked about having to play the noon game as if that's some huge disadvantage. I just don't really know. But he's like, the NCAA is just trying to make it as hard as possible for us, and I'm like, that's a weird mentality.
That guy's also
it's a weird thing to say on TV.
When they show the camera on him, he's a very like sporadic guy. Like he looks like he's on some sort of foreign substance. I won't say what, but he's just very, very spidery fella.
This is an interesting comment. Hurley is a psycho. I love it. Did you see that bit about his hotel slippers that Goodman got from him? I did not, and I'm gonna have to look that up because that sounds like a really good story.
Interesting.
But I watched a 40-minute coaching clinic of his about playing defense a couple of weeks ago, and just the way he talked to the on-court players who act as actors and stand-ins and stuff was very like demanding. And but he's a really good coach. His system is tough and it's crisp and it's extremely hard to guard. So I have a lot of respect for him. He's just kind of an odd guy.
Okay.
I feel like Purdue is the true underdogs, and that makes us very dangerous. Yeah, agreed. I agree.
We're an hour and 7 minutes. Gentlemen, you got anything else?
Yeah, dude, I'm like, I think I expressed so much energy during the game of nervousness and anxiousness and wanting to puke and then celebratory. Like after Purdue won, I grabbed I picked up my niece and ran outside with her. And my family's like, what is going on? I'm like, Purdue won. And it was, so I think I had so much energy during the game that now I'm just like, I'm exhausted, right? I'm like Russ, ready to go to bed it's 10 p.m. That's pretty late.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a 3 a.m. wake up call. So, but,
one more shout out to our awesome sponsors, Martin Vintage. Check them out. Use code BXP for 10% off at checkout. CBB Analytics has been such a great partner to us this season. I spend way too much time on their website. It's on my phone. If you go into my browser, you'll see like 15 tabs that are open with different CBB Analytics pages. You can pull up chart. You can create your own charts. You can look at how Purdue players stack up to other players. You can look at how Purdue as a team stacks up to other teams. For I say this genuinely, it is like the must-have tool for a like diehard stat, analytics-driven basketball person. So can't recommend them enough. Cincy Blitz Boards has been awesome. They've done some really cool stuff for us. Dylan usually is displaying one in the background. He doesn't have it today. His background's in a state of transition.
I think you said me, but yeah, I had mine in my car ready to play or try to get it out at your house on Friday night, but I was too nervous to even try to think about anything else. So
yeah. So yeah, definitely check out all of our sponsors. They're great people, have great platforms, and we're obviously not going to associate our name with something or someone who's not putting out quality products, whether it's a website products or Blitz boards or clothing like we get from Martin Vintage. So definitely be sure to check those out. We appreciate all the listeners. We appreciate everyone who chimes in with comments. If you're listening on YouTube, we're trying to get in this habit. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe. We appreciate that if you enjoy listening to us. Or check us out on Apple, Spotify, wherever you can hear us. If you don't want to look at us, or you don't coming and interacting with us live isn't your thing. But yeah, if nothing else, we'll give a boiler up and let's go beat NC State.
What a time it is to be a Boilermaker, boys. What a time.
Amen.
Let's do the damn thing, huh?
Boiler
we'll
up, get the dub.
Tuesday.
See you guys.